Forsyth has the saying over there that I may be getting wrong, but it goes something like filmmakers finish films, and I'm absolutely for it. And it's getting really frustrating that I can't. I didn't get myself to finish anything lately. Not films, not short films, not even video last week. And I kind of thought that I will finish the whole miniature last week, and that turned out to be completely not realistic. I have been a little bit disappointed with myself, even though I work through the process of being okay with playing, like working only on things that I want to do, but I don't like to do that for too long, because after a while it just starts feeling like I'm not doing anything at all and I'm not making any progress, and it's so much fun playing if you're not making progress. Even in video games, like, the progress is one of the most important things, whatever silly things you're working on. So it takes a little bit mental gymnastics for me to stay motivated when I cannot really work on the things I think I should be working on, or finishing things. The Sneeze Wizard, that is a longer short story that's been waiting to be filmed for a year, and I wrote it with a mindset that I'm going to finish it, to film it in April, but April is always the most busy time in my family, so I don't know what I was thinking. I do think I can film it in May and it won't cause too much confusion. And then I have this short story for the anthology I really want to finish, and I know how to finish, I just didn't work on it. So instead I was reading usually helps me get over being stuck, but lately each book I read made me think of a new concept for a book to write, and I can't even catch up with writing, because like I am still tired and I just keep coming up with these ideas for scenes and start writing, and then I want a break, I want to read a book, and then I have another idea, and right now I have 3 story ideas to catch up onto writing down the scenes I already thought through. And I was complaining to my writing group that, like, come on, I'm afraid to read another book because I will end up with another idea that I cannot catch up writing. But one of them said, as frustrating as it is to never finish, having new ideas and starting new projects is a way to continue your creativity in a time of your life when finishing is hard. Hold on to those ideas and you'll have a whole library to work on later. That really kind of let go of my guilt for a while, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Magic Bakery book or concept. It's kind of a book about copyright and IP management for writers, also marketing a little bit, and that's kind of the point I'm talking about right now, that you can't really do well with just one book or just 3 books. So one of the most important marketing strategies is to write more books, also release them in a timely manner. So like sitting on your ideas is not helpful in this context either, but this overarching vision of your career, of I don't know how it will work out with writing, with filmmaking yet, because films are way harder to finish than books, and finishing books is already kind of hard enough. You have to be very creative, how to make a no budget movie, and with books you can easily publish for free. But I really like this concept, but I'm going to try it on films, but probably it cannot be just on its own. But I'm not going to be discouraged because my first few films are not selling as well as they could be. But basically going back to writing, because I was this week mostly focusing on writing, well, on reading, but writing on the way. So having books that are ready to be finished when I will have time and space of mind to do so is not a bad idea. It will be a big asset anyway. As frustrating as having a lot of unfinished projects is, after a while they kind of nagging on me. I have to finish this, I have to finish that, and I have to reorganize my works in progress to kind of keep on top of that. But it's not a bad thing to have 50 unfinished books. I don't have 50 yet, but I will be if I keep going like that. So my point is here, there's not a ways to work on projects that you're not going to finish just yet. Like, even if it's just for practice, especially in filmmaking world, we tend to not appreciate the practice of things because making movies is so hard and expensive on its own. Well, doesn't have to be expensive, but most people say it is, and when you're learning filmmaking, that's the people that are the loudest. But with writing too, if you go to any writing group, they will say that publishing a book will have to cost you $5,000 or whatever, which is not true, but many people are afraid to say that it doesn't have to cost anything because they will look unprofessional. And also, like, publishing without having costs requires that you have lots of beta readers at the very least, because if you don't have an editor, you need to catch the problems some other way. And starting out writers don't have usually a good group of people that will catch the problems with the books. So it's kind of hard to skip over that part. I got really lucky that I found my writing group that consists of more experienced writers, and we all got a lot better since forming the group. And their beta reading is enough for me to treat the book as edited. Like, of course, I edit it later, before and after, but it gets to the point where it's polished enough that it's enjoyable to read. And it's not visible that I didn't hire an editor. And most starting out writers don't have that. So I do know that's the unfair advantage I have to be able to publish books without costs, but it is possible to find writers like that, or just to keep trying. Going back to filmmaking, of course everybody, I think, starts with short films, and that's the practice, and we do 2-3 short films and we think we are ready for feature. And making a feature is hard enough. I'm guessing I didn't get to make a feature yet. I don't think I would be able to treat the feature film as practice. So I'm kind of happy to just tinker around with short films and unfinished projects. I'm adapting few books into script just for practice. Like, I do hope to get the rights. I am not, of course, adapting bestsellers and stuff because I don't even like those books. So the books I am working on, the scripts are either from my writing group books, so far only one of the writers, because they don't always write books that would be easy for me to film. And the other ones, I am actively a fan of the books, the author, so I'm hoping it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to get the rights, but I don't know. Like, I did write to one of the authors, not from my writer group, but one of the indie writers I'm following and reading. I love the books, about one of her books that I would like to make a very low budget, and basically I got an answer no, because it was just too little money that I was offering, but I couldn't offer more, so it just fell through. I was very disappointed for a while, but I think the practice I got out of making that script, that proposal, of how much work I put into preparing it, did benefit me. So I'm not as much afraid to put in work and work on projects that I'm not sure if I will be able to do or not, because my overall goal is to get really good at making movies. And of course, if I'm working on projects that I don't even have rights to, I can't get to the filming part yet, but I can get through the scripting, the scheduling, the budgeting, all the pre-production. I'm kind of like thinking through the project. It's getting less and less overwhelming, because for me, making a feature film was overwhelming for a long time. And it kind of still is, mostly because how busy my life is. So just thinking of finding a month to film a movie and just to focus on that, it's really hard for me. Right now I'm working on this miniature for a short film that I didn't finish, but I filmed enough that I can at least use it as practice for green screen and making miniatures and stuff like that. So that's the purpose of this miniature. So one reason for not being bothered with unfinished projects is the practice that you're getting, either you ever finish them or not. And the other one is that you are building your library of works you can work on. It is easier to start a production on a movie, you just need to revise the script or finish the script, than to just start script from zero. One of the things I'm going to start is start making costumes. My goal is to make fantasy movies, and since I don't expect myself to get super rich anytime soon, I'm going to start making the costumes by myself, at least the easy ones and the ones that are easily adapted to people, like tunics and cloaks. But also I'm going to try my hand at things that are going to be tailored to actors, just to improve my skills. So I'm kind of keeping in mind the projects I would like to make and figuring out what costumes I will need for that. I'm just slowly preparing. I don't need to have anything ready right this moment. Even if it will take me longer to actually finish things, though I am making sure that I'm finishing at least one short film every year, because I don't want to fall into like the trap of just starting projects and promising myself that I will finish something someday. There needs to be balance on working on future projects and working on projects that you actually are going to finish. But in time it will get easier and I will get faster at making projects, like finishing projects, making movies, because I have this work put in right now, and either I will just use whatever I'm working on right now, which is easier with books because you always have few drafts before you are ready to get on with publishing. So like if I write a first draft for a few scenes right now, it's not going to set me back with anything, even if I will change the direction later, because that's just part of the process. Yeah, and it will make it easier for me to get back to it and like finish projects faster later, because I will have all this preparation built in. Like I was disappointed that I didn't finish even the roof last time, but it's way easier for me right now to get on with just sticking those tiles on and painting them, than to start again from nothing, just because I couldn't work on it for a week, or that I couldn't finish it quickly. I think it's nice for me to be reminded that I'm going to be both filmmaker and writer for my whole life, and I don't really need to stress out about the next book or the next movie so much, because I'm just going to keep going, and it's okay to sometimes get sidetracked and work on something else, even if it's absurd, like last week that I started 3 new projects. and I still have to go back to some of the previously started new projects that I have still a few scenes to write down, because I just came up with the idea before I wrote down everything I wanted in that project. So it is getting frustrated when it's like the dissonance of coming up with ideas and being able to write them down, but it's okay, like I can always come back to it. I think I will need a better system to keep track of all the started projects, especially because I'm forgetting right now a lot. And yes, I can open the docs and find all my files. I think I will back up everything to my computer, which I usually don't do because I do most of my writing on the phone or on the iPad, because just of my lifestyle, it's easier to get to. And I'm thinking about printing out all my projects at least like once a year. Maybe I will print them out like books, so I could like have them published, visible, because that would work well with my personality and like the way I organize things and how my brain kind of remembers them. So I think that would be a nice thing to do once a year, probably for end of the year, so I can also see how many projects I started, how many projects I worked on that year. So as bad as skipping through projects and not finishing things is seen as by our society and me personally, I had a lot of problem with accepting that I don't go through and finish the project I'm working on. I do think it's alright, at least, and if you do work like that too, I think it's great to give yourself some time to be okay with that and just go back to your main project later. Also, sometimes working on other projects give me space to kind of internalize my main project better, go back to it with fresh eyes and make it better. Sometimes just books needs to breathe, or scripts. I don't have that much experience with scripts because I'm too analytical of what I can actually film right now. So I'm mostly working on short scripts and they are too fast to finish to really stay long in the unfinished stage, because once I do get idea of short film, if it's longer than 5 minutes, because if it's under 5 minutes I just film without a script, because that just saves me time and I don't need a script for a very short film, especially if I'm just filming with a handful of people and keep the dialogue to minimum or just write down the dialogue. With writing, I noticed that it's sometimes good to let a project breathe and relax and marinate and go work on something else and then come back to it and suddenly it's better. Magic. So I think it would be great if people who do work like that would be able to let go of the guilt of not sticking with one project, and I'll have the balance of, yes, finishing films or finishing books, but on the other side giving themselves space to experiment and start different things and build a catalog of projects that they can work on later. So see you next week, and I hope you will have fun with whatever projects you are working on. Bye!